Now that you have your technical drawing done, it's time to get ready to make the car. In order to do that, what is really helpful is to have a template that follows the outline of the car so that you know where you're going to sand or cut. The way to do that is to get a plain sheet of white paper and line it up with the bottom of the car, and then trace the rest of the lines for the shape of the car. The paper is only 11 inches long, so if your car is longer than 11 inches, then you'll have to do the front part and the back part and cut those out and then tape them so they overlap perfectly. Okay, so I'm lining up the edge of the paper with the bottom of the car. And now I'm going to push down hard enough that I can see the line from underneath on the drawing. And then I'm going to trace along it. So that I can make a template. Let's see, the top of the car is, where is here? Okay, I'm going to look for some key spots, mark where the lines of the car are. And then I'll draw through the dots. And yes, it can be a little hard to see through. If you have to, you can go back to your drawing and make the lines darker. Okay, like here, I can't see the line through very well, so I'm going to lift up the paper. I'm going to darken the line very carefully, because I can't see it through the paper to trace it. Okay, make sure my paper is lined up in the right place still. Yep. Okay. There, now I can see it, just barely. Okay, now one of the things that I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back here. I'm going to check this and make some dots. Let's see, it goes this far and then it's a flat line, so the part I have to free draw, I'm going to do my dots, and it's not quite dark enough here. So I'm going to darken it up some more so I can see it through the paper. There we go, now I can see it. Okay, and then let's see, where's the spot? It's up this far, okay. So that's where I'm going to have to free draw here along these dots and along these dots. The other parts are flat, so I'm going to use the ruler to connect those dots straight away and just make my life easier so I have nice clean lines. Okay, so now I can finish my tracing. And there we have it, the side view of the car that I can then turn into a tracing template by cutting it out. Now if you have special parts on the top view that go in, like one design has the sides cut out, then you're going to have to do a top template to make sure that you get that part right as well. So I just cut out my paper. And I will have a template that I can then put against the side of the block to prepare for shaping the car. There we go, the template. And for practice, I'm going to start with the styrofoam block. And this on styrofoam is best done with a marker. So I have a Sharpie or somebody's marker. And I just follow the template.
You can tape it down if you're worried about it wiggling.
Right. Not only can you tape down the template to the car, but you can, if you use masking tape very lightly, tape the paper to your drawing to hold it in place so it doesn't wiggle while you're tracing there. But you have to not push hard on the masking tape so that you don't damage your drawing. It's all right if the pen runs onto the template. That's how you help from putting the lines in the wrong place. You have the template in the way. So there we go. And now I can start to shape the car. After you've had this practice and you're comfortable with tracing and sanding, then you can move to the wood block and trace onto it. Here, I would prefer a pencil over a marker, but either one will work. If you're going to use a pencil, use one that's a little bit dull, so that it doesn't tear into the wood. So this one's a little dull. Let's do that. Okay, now the paper's sliding more on the wood block, so I think we'll use some tape for this part. I'm going to hold this in place and wait for Mrs. Mitchell to come back with some tape, and then I will tape it. That's enough. Okay. So tape the template, make sure it's in the right place, and then push the tape down onto the car, and now it'll stay there. Okay, so I'll go back to following the template with the dull pencil. And the nice thing about the dull pencil is it's not pushing into the wood and making a mess of it. And it's leaving the line dark enough I can see it. And like I said, if you slip a little, it just goes on the stencil. That's no problem. Just make sure you hold the stencil down flat against the wood while you're doing it. And I'm going back and forth lightly so I don't push into the wood too much. I just want to mark on the wood to know where to do the work. Now, one of the things that I recommend very strongly, because we don't have a fancy kind of saw available to us, is to put the template on both sides. And that's because you don't want one side to have a different shape from the other. You want them to both have the same shape. So you want to be able to see how it's coming along no matter which side you look at. It's easy to go down too far on one side by accident. So having the lines on each side helps you make sure that you don't end up going down too far on the other side. You have lines to check on both sides. There. So, and I just do the same as I did. I follow the template. And got the bend. Now I'll try to get the straight part here. Make sure I'm holding it down flat against the wood as I go along. Oops, bumping my finger. There we go. And now I've got it marked all the way around. And I'll know when I've sanded as far as I want to go because the pencil will have just disappeared. So let's see. Does it look the same on each side? Looks the same to me. So when I'm all done, I should have a nice, evenly shaped car. Now, it might be helpful as you're watching your work to remember that the lines connect. So if I get my ruler and I put the line edge on this side of the ruler, line edge on this side of the ruler, I can go across with my pencil and mark where it follows along the back. Continues all the way around. Now for the front, it goes down to the bottom. So I will get my ruler and follow along the bottom. There, I've got the ruler lined up on that line and that line. Oops, slipped. Let me just start again. There, lined up there. Okay. And now it follows, sloping down to the end, around and back up. And so now I know that's where I stop here. That's where I stop coming down here. And here's where I stop all along the side. And it matches, so I don't take off too much by tipping by accident.